I had a goal to retire at an early age. And at 53, 2 years ago, I retired from my dream job at Petco. I started there as the assistant controller in accounting and worked my way up the ladder to eventually become the chief customer officer. I was part of the C-suite team for a number of years, and I would say my claim to fame is that I was the youngest person in the company's history, and I think it's still the case today, that got promoted to the senior vice president level. Awesome, right? So what am I doing today? Well, retirement lasted 4 months. I was really lucky to have a great group of customer experience professionals, a network that helped me launch my management consulting firm. And today I'm helping clients, working with one of my awesome clients right there, Sutherland, helping them on customer strategy and the use of customer data analytics. Back up for 1 second there. 4, okay. For the next 9 minutes, I am gonna give you just a little snapshot of some of the challenges and lessons that I learned as I led a customer transformation journey at Petco. So for those of you who don't know Petco, it's a retailer of pet products and services. They have over 1,500 stores and 25,000 employees, and they also have multiple e-commerce sites. So let's have some fun, and I want some disclosure from you in the audience. How many of you come home from work and the first person you're ready to see is your pet, and you walk in and you say, "Mommy or Daddy's home"? The facts are 70% of pet parents do this. Okay, how many of you actually sleep with your pet? Yeah, I'd see, you know what? This room is an example. The facts are 80% of pet parents do this. So it's stories like this at Petco that we used to really infuse emotion and connect our products and services to our brand and our customer. When I started as the Chief Customer Officer, the dynamics internal to the company and external were changing significantly. One of the things we knew was that we needed to change the way in which we measured and act upon our customer feedback. So I had the opportunity to lead the implementation of the Net Promoter methodology across the company. And I have to tell you, it was game-changing for us. We learned how to listen and respond to our customer feedback. One of the first things we did was we implemented a closed-loop process. With our customers' permission, customers that rated us detractors, our store managers had the opportunity to contact the customer, get deeper into what their experience was, and invite them back into the store to make it right. It was eye-opening and very effective. The second thing we did was we implemented voice of the customer text analytics capabilities. A lot of what you guys produce, we execute. So what that helped us do is it helped us statistically identify the major pain points that our customers were having, whether it was in the store or online. And every year we took 3 to 5 of those pain points, and cross-functionally in the organization, we worked together to remove them. And some of them we were able to eliminate completely, others we improved. And guess what happened? Our Net Promoter scores, our customer satisfaction, went up significantly. Well, it wasn't easy. The biggest challenge that I faced in my role was breaking down the silos. Our customers didn't care about our organizational charts. You can relate to that as a customer, right? They didn't care that our digital and physical business model wasn't always completely connected. There was gaps. So I wasn't the CEO of the company, but I almost had to have as much influence as the CEO at times on my journey. And let me tell you, there were some challenges and I learned a lot. But one of the things that was very effective for me was I adopted a sponsorship spine. And what I mean by that was I handpicked about 24 leaders in the company across all levels, and I picked those individuals that were really, really passionate about customers, that were make it happen kind of leaders, and that also they had influence. And I met with them regularly. They became part of the team, and we went down this customer advocacy path together. One of the things we knew we had to change was the way in which we communicated and also what we made as priority. So here's an example. The CFO, he was on my sponsorship spine. And traditionally, we started our officer meetings with a review of the budget, the financial statements. Well, guess what? If we were going to make the customer first, we needed to change. So he allowed me to kick off the officer meetings from that point forward. And guess what we did? I started the meeting off with real voice of the customer comments. Detractors, promoters, what were we doing well? What did we need to improve upon? It was awesome. The second thing was leaders that visited our stores. Traditionally would take a whole list of key store metrics, financial statements. Well, they still brought those to the stores. But the priority was they took the voice of the customer, text analytics, and they took that to the store and actually was able to identify. Customers would say, wow, Susie created a great experience for me, and recognize them on the spot. And also talk about barriers that were getting in the way of delivering that great customer experience. It was really, really effective for us as an organization. The other thing we did was we implemented a 360 view of our customer, primarily on the omni-channel customer. So our omni customers, again, I tell you about the silos in the org chart, right? But the e-commerce and the stores, there wasn't always collaboration, and everything wasn't connected. So what might happen is a customer would come into the store and perhaps a product was out of stock. And the store partner wasn't always, they didn't have the information, they weren't always encouraging the customer to go through the extended aisle and shop online. But we were able to take the data and show them that an omni customer actually shops more and more frequently spends more. So they're a valuable customer. And as we got the data around the company, we were able to have an impact and begin to bring those channels together. For those of you who are going through cultural change, using visuals can be a great way for you to influence. So here's an example. If it's really important for us to take customer journeys and go through those touch points and make sure we truly understand what's happening, where it is today and where we want it to go. We also have to do that and ensure that our employees, we're focusing on those frontline people dealing with the customer. And then it's the corporate office, the support groups, working together. So this is just an example of the whole organization, and I would encourage you to use these kind of visuals in your PowerPoints, in your huddles, in store meetings. If there's something that you need to, the message you need to come across, visuals are a great way to show what good looks like, and also it's easier to remember. One of the biggest lessons I learned was that you needed to have a discipline around defining a handoff, and it needed to happen in the early stages. I mentioned to you we called back our customers, and that was a really good process. But one thing I didn't do at the very beginning, but learned along the way, was that you needed to have a good discipline of taking those pain points and working with department heads, following up with them to actually make change. When I did that, we were able to actually have significant improvements and remove those pain points. And the second thing was around building data models. I had a team of super smart, amazing data scientists, and they loved to build models. Well, at the beginning, we built some models, and guess what? They weren't fully utilized. But what we ended up learning was that we needed to back up the process, and the data scientists needed to meet early on with the business leaders to find out, how are we going to hand off this model? How are we going to implement it? How would we execute it? Once we did that, we had tremendous improvements. So I'm going to leave you with a couple of thoughts. One is, once you can align actions across your company and you can use emotions to infuse that, you can really drive your engagement up. Transformation is not easy, but it's really important to focus on the people aspect of transformation from the very beginning. And the last point I want to leave you with is customer experience by design, not default. plus servant leadership. That two together creates an extremely powerful equation to help you win. So I've just given you a puppy bite size of some of the initiatives we went through, but I'd love to connect with you and learn more from you and share some of that story further. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I want you to stay up there because I think we may have some puppy and pet and all kinds of questions for you. So if you're okay, we certainly want to thank you. And actually, we're going to take a few questions from the audience if you don't mind. Are you guys okay with that? Anybody have any pet questions that they want to pose? I have two little shits, literally, Lucy and Lola. One is 8 and one is 9. And my spouse and I have a king-size bed, and we sleep on the edges. So just so you know. And we use rover.com pretty exclusively all over the place because, the prima donnas can't be left alone. So talk about your pets. Ask your pet questions.
Question right here. So it's actually not a pet question, but I do have a little shit as well. So my name's Ellie Wu. I'm with SAP Concur. And
Hi, Ellie.
Hi. And we love our customers. I loved listening to about how you do the transformation. How do you measure the soft skills and tie the metrics into elements that are not so binary, right? And trying to find the qualitative and quantitative balance as you're looking for the transformation to drive accountability?
Yeah, so great question. I think the qualitative side, we ended up doing a lot of work around educating, the emotional experience of being a pet parent. And I think the quantitative side is really important to not overstate it. And when you use the information, you really need to bring it down to the what's meaningful to an individual. So if you say that your omni-channel customer spends X, right? You want to bring it down to, okay, well, what does that mean for that particular store? So on the quantitative side, I would say try to get it to a level that's most meaningful for your audience. That's a lesson that we learned.
Hi. Hi, my name is Sloan Miller. I actually have a little 6-pound dog named Oreo. But I had the question of how would you attract customers for, say, the first time if you're kind of in a position where no one is taking you really seriously just because you're really young, you don't know what you're doing, but you do want to try to get people interested in what you're doing?
So as far as an entrepreneurial business, is that what you're kind of thinking? I think research about your customer, if it's a product, what type of customers are potentially interested in your product, so a lot of research around that. And then also social media has great avenues to identify people that could potentially use your product. That's probably the two big high level. And I'm happy to meet with you at a break and talk further.
Thanks so much,
Okay,
Razia.
great.
That's great. Big round of applause.